Cisse's through and he scores! Judith from outside the box! And what a strike! Middle, still with it, the shot, and it's in!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Friday, and welcome into episode number 5 of the Old Bay Breakdown. I'm your host, Adam Gotkin, going solo today, no interviews in today's episode. It could be either a very long one or a short one. There's a lot of news, a lot to talk about, depends on how much I blabber on about each thing. You all will already know, depending on the length of the video, but I won't, so I guess we'll see how long I go. It's kind of a guessing game. If I do talk for a while, I promise it is worth it to watch the whole thing. If I don't, it's going to be jam-packed. So much news, so much going on in this past week for the Maryland Bobcats. And we'll start things off with a little less than a week ago, last Saturday, in the home opener for Maryland, an absolute thrashing of Flower City Union, a final score of 6-1 in front of over 650 fans, the largest crowd that the Bobcats have seen since last spring. The first game that they ever played in front of fans as a professional club is the only attendance record, I believe, that has beaten that. Nothing in the fall really came close to where they were at. So thank you all so much to the fans who came out to the last match, and what a match it was to see. 2 goals from Sam Solomon, 2 goals from Elijah Amo, a goal from Darwin Espinal, and a own goal. That were the 6 for the Bobcats. I mean, it was just a perfect match in a lot of ways, played by Maryland. When you're up 6-1 and when you win 6-1, there's really not much bad that you can say. The one thing, though, defensively, they looked a bit disorganized. They allowed a couple one-on-one opportunities for Flower City, but with Felix Annan in net, just the presence of him, those one-on-ones are never going to be easy for another team, but you can't allow those to happen. I thought that the biggest storyline from that was Coach Sylvain Rostella went with 3 in the back instead of the usual 4 that we see, and I think that's what caused a lot of the disorganization, just the fact that I don't know how ready they were to play that 3 in the back. They were so spread out that they didn't have the legs to keep up with the runs coming in from Flower City Union, and because of that, there were just those one-on-ones. Towards the end, Coach Rostella did an amazing job of changing the strategy, moved Manny Gonzalez back almost into a center back position for the second half, and they really locked in and played a lot better defensively after the Flower City goal. And so overall, that match, really nothing much bad to say about it. Again, thank you all so much for coming out. I hope you all enjoyed the Jimmy Seafood. I saw that it was on Footy Scran, a Twitter page with a massive following, and the people there seem to love it. And so make sure to come out and get some more Jimmy Seafood. And the True Respite truck will be back tomorrow, along with the Jimmy Seafood truck. Should be a great game. I'll preview that one at the very end. That was one of 2 matches that the Bobcats played in this week. The other one, a bit of a different result, losing 2-0 to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in the U.S. Open Cup. Not at all the result that the Bobcats were hoping for. It was never going to be easy without Yaya Fane and Brandon Clegg. Clegg out due to cup ties, Fane out due to a red card back in 2019. Without your 2 top defenders, it's not going to be easy, and you can kind of point to that potentially as the reason that Pittsburgh had their first goal. Christian Schneider almost just looked a bit lost in front, his first time playing in a competitive match in a long time, even battling back from an injury too, so not all the way at his top form. It allowed for a decently easy goal for their first one. Then with the second one, just a man slipped. Noah Wright just slipped completely and allowed for an open net for Pittsburgh to score both. So the final score was Riverhounds 2, Bobcats 0. I thought that they had the skill to play with Pittsburgh in that match. Pittsburgh did not go with their B or C lineup 100%. I'd say it was a B plus-ish lineup for them. There were guys in there who do play solid minutes during the USL Championship season. And the Bobcats look good. They just almost lacked confidence, especially up top. Sam Solomon has had a great start to the season, but to have him as the lone striker, it just felt like he wasn't completely right for that role. And Sam has had an incredible start to the season, but maybe he'll prove me wrong, and I hope that he does. I don't know if he's that guy that can do what Amo does and move back and connect the midfield to the attack, and that's what they lacked, especially in the first half. Once Amo came on in the second, they had more chances because they were able to do that, but it felt like Solomon was all alone. And on that big stage on ESPN+, it's not easy to ask, especially a young guy, to do it all himself offensively, but it just didn't feel like Solomon had that really in him for that match. I hope he's able to progress and be able to eventually do that, but it didn't feel right. Amo was able to come on in the second half, give the Bobcats some more chances. As I said, Noah Wright slipped, allowed for that second Riverhounds goal, and from there on, it was pretty much done. I felt like if the Bobcats were going to win, it was going to be 2-1 or 1-0. They were never going to score 3 goals in a match against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, one of the best teams in the USL Championship. Many believe that they will be the furthest team to advance in the USL Championship no matter their draw. So it was not an easy opponent for the Bobcats. And at the end of the day, they fared pretty well. I think that there was a lot to learn, and I think that they did learn a lot, and that'll pay off, especially for the rest of this NISA League season. And the rest of this NISA League season starts tomorrow on Saturday. The Bobcats take on AC Syracuse Pulse. The Pulse were supposed to play Chattanooga on Sunday, but that match actually got snowed out. So a snow out, a postponement of that one. So they did not play over the weekend. Their first match of the year, they won against Flower City Union 1-0. They went down at one point to 10 men after a red card in about the 60th minute. Were able to hold on to their lead and win that one 1-0. It's an interesting AC Syracuse Pulse team with Peter Fuller as the head coach. A ton of NISA pros on the roster. 2 former Bobcats, Morian Musi is one of them, and then the other is Molly Carpe. And those two are really good players, both former starters for the Bobcats. And they've gone up to Syracuse, gone up to the Salt City, and both have performed pretty well so far. Kyle Newell comes over from the Michigan Stars, Minjae Kwok from Cal United. There are so many NISA veterans in this league. Sean Russell from Chattanooga, just endless names that you will recognize if you've been around NISA. They just need to kind of put it all together. The chemistry is not yet there, and Coach Fuller talks about that a lot, that it's just not there. They don't have that chemistry. You know, they just came together as a team about less than a month ago, so they're not going to have, especially offensively, what it takes to go a complete build-up and play the offensive game that you want. They have a really good goalkeeper and Mitchell Brickman, who has some USL Championship experience with the Tampa Bay Rowdy, so that'll help them out a lot, although they did lose. Recording this one Wednesday night, and they lost about an hour ago, by the time this is being recorded, to FC Motown in the second round of the U.S. Open Cup. The Bobcats also lost in that round, but they lost to a USL Championship team. The Riverhounds lost to an amateur team. And now FC Motown is one of the best amateur teams in the nation. You can make an argument that they are one of the strongest amateur programs in the country. You actually had a Bobcat signed from there last year, and Tony Chani only ended up playing 2 matches for the team, the first 2. But, you know, a professional guy signed from there to Maryland, and they have a ton of former professionals, a ton of future professionals on that team up in New Jersey. And it was a loss for AC Syracuse Pulse, one that went to extra time, 1-0 for FC Motown. And the Pulse had the chances. They definitely had the opportunities to win that game. They just could not put the ball in the back of the net. And Brickman kept them alive, definitely, for sure. And he kept them in it, and he tried his hardest, had a couple, just crazy saves, but it wasn't enough. And then they were not able to end up getting that goal that they needed to send it to penalty kicks. And overall, just a frustrating match for them. That one played on Wednesday, so a short turnaround, short rest for when they'll play the Bobcats on Saturday. Maryland has an extra day of rest, although Bobcats played on Saturday the week before. The Pulse did not have a game on Sunday, so Maryland 3 matches in 7 days. The Pulse, if we do the math, that is 2 matches in 4 days. So none of those are going to be easy. For either team. Maybe that can play a role. Maybe these two sides start to rotate players. The Pulse really have not rotated much so far this year. So with that, a bit of a preview of the Maryland Bobcats versus AC Syracuse Pulse match coming up tomorrow at 7 p.m. That game will be broadcasted on 11 Sports. I'll have the call alongside Matt Levis. And I'm not going to give my full prediction for them. I'm not going to give my match prediction or the winner as I am on the call, but I'll tell you guys what you need to know Maryland is going to have to play a team game if they're going to beat the Pulse. What they have to do with that is control possession, because that's not something that the Pulse really can do 100% because they don't know what their team wants to do when they're making those runs. And so if they control possession, it's not going to be very much with a purpose. Whenever they get it, they're just going to go long and try and see if they can make anything happen. The Bobcats, on the other hand, they can control possession. They've been together. They know what their teammates want to do. So if they can then play into the midfield and slice and go back and forth and just see where the holes open up, they will open up eventually against a team that does not have much experience playing together. And I think we can see a lot of the same as what we saw against Flower City Union. This AC Syracuse Pulse team, a lot more talented than Flower City is, but they don't have that chemistry that Flower City has. And so it'll be interesting. Those two Central New York foes, when they battled it out, Syracuse won 1-0 at Rochester. It'll be interesting to see how that rivalry shapes through the remainder of this season. But so far, Syracuse looks like the better one of those two expansion clubs. And I think that they'll put up more of a fight. I don't think that we're going to see another 6-1 scoreline. I think it's going to be closer. If Maryland's going to win, like I said, control possession, play as a team, I think that's how you do it. For the Pulse, they have to take advantage of the opportunities that are given. If Maryland allows one-on-ones like they did last week against Flower City Union, Molly Carpe is going to finish that. Whoever their striker is, Kyle Newell, whoever's with the ball, Minjae Kwok, they're going to finish it. And so if you're Maryland, you cannot allow any one-on-ones with the keeper, whether it's Felix Anon or Christian Calker. Sorry for a bit side talk. He had the start in the U.S. Open Cup against the Riverhounds. Even though he allowed two goals, conceded 2 goals, he had a good game, had a couple great saves. Good to see him back in action. Experienced keepers, even with the experienced keepers, you cannot allow any one-on-ones if you are the Bobcats against Syracuse, because they're going to finish it. And I think that's the end of the story. So keys to the game: Maryland, keep possession, play as a team. Syracuse, finish when you are given the chances. You can get your tickets for this match at MarylandBobcatsFC.com. You can get the $17 general admission tickets, the $10 supporters tickets. Youth tickets are $8. Again, I'll be on the call for that one with Matt Levis. The game will be broadcasted on 11 Sports. Make sure to tune in if you cannot make it. If you can, come out, support some local soccer. DC United not playing this week, so you have no excuse not to go. So with that, everybody, have a great rest of your Friday, and I will see you all tomorrow at the Plex. I'm Adam Gotkin. Thank you for watching episode number 5 of the Old Bay Breakdown.